Welcome back to Universe. I'm Andrew, and today I'm playing Zaberias, which is a 2 to 4 player, I guess like a skirmish strategy game. It has a lot of DNA, reminiscence of like a real-time strategy game. Like I played a good bit of Warcraft 3, for example, because you've got these boards where players are moving around. You've got these buildings that you get to build and upgrade, which also function kind of like tech trees, and a variety of units for each of the factions. So this here is actually the undead faction board we're not using today, but I've already got the others set up. So I wanted to show you this. There are 4 factions in the game, and this is the undead one. This is how they come, which is pretty cool. You got this nice cover art, and if you flip it over, you see the game board for that faction, and behind it is a cool like punch board sheet of all of their units, and you can pop them out, see what they do, pop them back in, and it's really cool storage. Each faction also has a bunch of their own coins and dice, which fit really snugly in this foam. So you can easily pop them out or back in, but they don't come loose. And then the back is just the kind of the back of the box type of stuff. So we'll put the undead away because I'm playing today with the humans and the guardians. The guardians being kind of like of a green, the nature themed tribe. We've also got the orcs off screen over here. And normally I determine first player just like on who's on my side of the table, but in this case it's kind of unclear. I felt like this was the best way to set up so you can see the board, even if you can't necessarily see all of the units. I think I'm actually going to roll to see who goes first. And so normally the rules say I think you roll 1 die, but I'm going to roll 2 each to reduce the chance of ties. And we got 4 for green and 3 for blue. So green will go first. And here you can see better the 6 gold coins, or at least 5 of them. These are the coins that each faction has. And if you flip them over, those are spent coins. So you can have either unspent or spent all on your player board. And each player does start with 5. I'm probably just going to take them out and put them like over here so that you can see them regularly on the main camera. So here each player is going to have 5 to start. And each player also starts with 1 income building. And you can see right here that is the Guardians starting. That is their wood castle as opposed to their metal or gold castle, which are the upgraded versions. And this will generate 1 gold for them each turn. But I think the exception is probably that first turn when you just start with 5. And then over here you can see the metal and gold castles. They cost more to build and they provide more dice when defending, which will probably come up later. And there's also some of the units that we'll see showing up later on. And one note I'll get out of the way is that the wood castles do generate a gold, but they do not cost a gold to build. So if we need to build more later on, it doesn't cost anything, whereas the metal and gold do cost their printed gold coins. I will say some caveats for myself is that I haven't played this before, so this is going to be me figuring it out. I did read the rules, I read the FAQ, watched some videos, and they've got a lot of information at Zaberias.com where you can also purchase this same edition of the game. I think there's also a previous edition, so watch out for which version you're buying. But anyway, my second part of the caveat is I'm also just bad at these tactical position-based games. I tend to not know what points to try to control or properly threat assess my opponent. So hopefully it'll be fair and balanced between the 2 factions, but in terms of me making dumb moves, well, that's probably going to happen. That said, I think I'm going to start out with this unit here. So this is a baby dragon. There's 1 coin here. Not sure if that shows up, but there's 1 coin there, baby dragon. There's no other text, so it doesn't have any special abilities. So I'm going to spend 1 of my coins to bring this out. And the only place I can put it is right by the building that I've started with, in the bottom right corner of the map here. And you can also see in this close-up that he's got 3 movement, 2 range, and 1 strength with 1 die. So that's his attack value. It's going to be 1 plus the results of a die roll. And different units obviously will have different base strengths and different numbers of dice that they roll. His movement is 3, so I'm going to go ahead and move him 1, 2, 3. One of those moves was diagonal, which normally is not allowed, but because this is a road, he is allowed to move along that road in order to make that particular diagonal movement. He's now in a position, an empty city, which means a new city can be built. Every unit gets a move and an attack. He did his move, and as his attack, he can basically like attack the unoccupied city in order to create a basic wooden city. So I'm going to take the other wooden city out of the Guardians board there and stand it up here. Just going to give him some more income. And one thing I really like about this game is that you can do as much as you want on your turn. So this unit is done because it's done its movement and attacked, but there's a bunch of actions. I could summon more units and I can upgrade my buildings, which I think I want to do. I'm going to spend 2 coins to change out this wood for a metal piece. And now that can go right here. So I had to pay 2 to make that upgrade, but it's also going to give me an income of 2, so it'll pay off. And that has unlocked a new tier of units. So previously I could only play units from this row, which is the wood, considered to be wood units. Now I'll be able to access the metal tier units. And if I get a tier 3 city, I'd be able to summon the 2 gold tier units. Of course, they all have their own costs as well. So that's like the tech tree part I was talking about. I think I'm also going to summon this mermaid, or sorry, she's called the Protector. Oh, not the Protector. That's not the one I want. I want this one, which is a fairy, and her ability is she flies over water and units. Well, that's going to cost my last 2 gold. It's kind of steep, and I can't summon her here, even though I've built a tower, because that space is occupied. But I've freed up this space, so I'm going to put her here. She can move over water, so I can walk over this water here. And she's got 4 movements. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see this space she's on has a gold mine on it, which is another source of income that I'll have starting next turn. She could theoretically attack, but there's nothing for her to attack, at least within range. And so that'll end the green player's turn. The Guardians are finished. They're out of money as well. And I should say, the win condition is to destroy all of your enemy stuff, so you have no buildings and no units remaining. With that, let's start the blue player's turn, the humans. And here's kind of an angled shot of everything that the green player's up to. Just before we go too far, they've got their metal tier castle with 2 gold, wood tier that's going to generate 1, and the gold mine, which will make 1 as well. So they'll have an income of 4 starting next turn. Assuming the blue player doesn't do too much to stop them, but it's kind of hard to get all the way to that side, so we'll see. The humans have decided to bring out this unit, the knight. So that's going to cost them 1 coin and put them in their only available starting position right there in the corner where their starting wood castle is. It can move 3, so they're going to do the same move here and use the attack to initiate their second castle. Now as the defending player, they do have this mermaid. This is the one I was thinking, and she's got the same ability as that fairy. But if they were to do the same maneuver, they'd be putting her into this gold mine here. But that would be a dangerous move because this unit would have the initiative to attack her on the Guardians next turn. It is a bit disadvantaged in terms of strength, but because of the range 2, it doesn't have to fear any retribution. So I think instead they're going to make an archer. That's also going to cost them 1 coin. And they're going to have to put her in a starting position. They'll start moving her forward, maybe just 1, 2, 3. 3 more money. I think they're going to spend 2 of it and save 1, and they're going to upgrade their wood castle into a metal. But they're going to do this forward castle so that when they summon stronger units, they're closer to the front. Then again, I don't know if there's a requirement of which castle can summon stronger units or just that it is a castle. Or that you have one somewhere. But I look back at the rules and I'm pretty sure that the castle does need to be the appropriate grade for the units that it is bringing out. So now the humans will be able to summon metal grade units to this position and wood to this position, whereas for the Guardians it's the other way around just because they put their metal castle here. With that, I think the blue player is done. So we go back to the second turn of the green player and they're going to collect that income 2, 3, 4. And I think they've decided to move this baby dragon 1, 2, 3 up to here, which is a power space. Sorry, a power star. So as long as a unit is occupying that space, all of the Guardians are going to get +1 to their base power. And it's actually tempting to move and attack with this fairy now because she's actually tied with the knight because of the power star. She has 3 base power plus a die. He's got 3 base power plus a die, but it's still just a tie and they'd risk losing her. So they're just going to keep it on the gold mine for now. I'm going to be risky and we're going to summon a Protector. So this is the same as the knight. I'm going to bring it out in the middle here. That costs 1 coin. I think I'm going to move it here to be in a position to protect the fairy. And then I'm actually going to spend all 3 of the rest of the coins here to upgrade the metal again. And we're going for the gold, baby. We're going to go turn 2. gold castle. Put that right in the back. Hopefully we don't regret that later. Now I've got an income of 3, 4, 5, as long as we keep the gold mine and everything. We'll pass to the blue player, the humans. So they might have been tempted to move the knight 3, claim the power star, and attack that fairy. 3 with a die against 2 with a die. Although because they now both would have power stars, that would be 4 with a die against 3 with a die. Still have the advantage of 1. But because this unit is here now, the protector, any unit in range. Oh, you know what? I guess the unit has to be in range of the attacker, and I don't know if diagonals would count. I'm pretty sure you count range the same way you count movement. So if this were a diagonal road, they would be in range, but they're not. So she's actually not offering any protection because she needs to be in melee range against the knight. But if she were, just hypothetically, let's say something like this, then if he were attacking her, that would be 3. Again, with counting the power star bonus, it'd be 4 plus a die against 2 plus a die plus 3 more plus, because of the power star, 4. So it'd be 4, 7 plus a die against 4 plus a die. So this would clearly be a bad attack for the knight. But because the protector is here, she's not in range of the knight. And I think it actually does make sense for the knight to make that move. So this can be 4 versus 3, plus they're each dice. So it's not necessarily a super safe move, but the humans do have the advantage. And in fact, they even rolled better as well. So with the 2 on the die brings that up to a 6 against a 4, which means she is defeated. And she's going to go back to the green player board, which means the gold mine is open and the Guardian's plan is not going to work, at least not this turn. They needed that extra coin. But blue's not done. And in fact, I forgot to give them their income, which was 3. So they have 4 coins now. I think they're going to move their archer 1, 2 up to the gold mine. What's the cost on the ninja? Just 3. What a deal. They're going to summon a ninja. He has the ability that when he kills an enemy, he gets to stack them underneath him, and he gets an extra die for everybody whose soul he has absorbed. He's got 4 movements, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Puts him right next to that little baby dragon. Now these two can ambush the baby dragon by attacking together. So similar to the way I demonstrated they could have defended. Because both of them are adjacent to this dragon, they can do a combined attack. They don't necessarily need to. Like, I actually don't think the ninja can lose a fight against the baby dragon because of the base of 4. Because of the star, it's actually 5. He's a 2, and if he rolled a 3, that would be a 5. So at best, for the Guardians, they could tie, which would be a reroll. So there's no way the baby dragon can lose against the ninja, not to mention an ambush against the ninja and the archer. So we're going to have this guy off the table, and again the ninja gets to absorb his soul, and he gets an extra die in his attacks in the future. So now green's got a big old castle, not much else. With just 1 coin, humans actually don't have anything else left to do, so we pass back to the Guardians, who get to collect 4 income. They really wanted 5. I was planning to summon this giant tree guy, the earth mover. He costs a little bit too much. I wanted that gold mine. But because the humans put their metal base a little bit forward, now 3 movement isn't gonna quite get in range because of this water around the castle. At most, she could go 1, 2, 3. Can't move through this guy, and because of the diagonal, she can't get around that corner. She can't even try to pick off the archer because she would need to move into this position, and then the ninja would get to add his 5 strength, 4 again plus the star. The best thing she could do is try to fight a losing battle against this guy, or maybe it just makes sense to fall back. So I think she's actually going to go back 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to spend 2 coins to bring out this little turtle guy. The turtle goo glues the enemy unit in its place for 1 turn. And in the FAQ about unit abilities, it indicates that this is part of a sorcerer class of units. So each of the 4 tribes has 1 sorcerer class unit, and they can target multiple people within their range. And his range is 4. And following the movement rules, this would be a diagonal. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He can actually glue her and him at the same time. So I hope I'm understanding that correctly, but it seemed pretty clear. I think he could even attack still, but he only attacks with a single die, which means he would not be able to defeat the ninja, but he has a chance of beating that archer, so he may as well go for it. So he's got to roll a 3, and she's got to roll a 0, but why not? Looking for a green 3 and a blue 0. Did not happen. But because the archer's range is only 2, she normally, if you lose a fight, you die. Even if you're the one who initiated it. But her range is not far enough to kill him. So he gets that free attack with a giant range of 4. And I don't even think I'm going to move him. These two can't move. We're going to save our 2 coins and pass back to the humans, who get 3 income, putting them up to 4. And yeah, they can't move. So it's down to this guy and then whatever else they summon. This guy could move in, but he's leaving the power star unoccupied. They could summon something new to take up its space. And they probably need to kill that turtle. 1, 2, 3 is not quite going to do it. 1, 2, 3 puts him in range, but then she gets to add her protector bonus. So he'd be fighting with a 3 and a single die against a 3 and 2 dice. But he really needs that turtle to be dead. Maybe there's something else he could summon to put onto the power star so that he's at least in a fair fight. All right, so how about this plan? We're going to go 1, 2. We're going to waste 1 of those movement. We're not going to attack with him yet. I'm pretty sure we can split that unit. That unit can't move again, even though he has 1 movement left. But I'm pretty sure I can save his attack for later. We're going to summon this guy, which is a Dazzle Walker. Costs 2. And the magic Dazzle disables a unit's ability for 1 turn within its range. Oh, it only moves 2, though. I really wanted to get it onto the power star. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they can't even, with a move of 2, it's not going to work. I really wanted to disable the turtle's ability. So never mind about the Dazzle Walker. Instead, maybe let's just bring out a Paladin. He's got no ability, but he's just a big boy, 5 with 2 dice and 5 movement. 1, 2, 3 of it. No, I'm rewinding my turn. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then bring out the Paladin. And then this knight is going to attack the turtle and hope for the best. So it's going to be 4 and a single die. Oh, but when you attack a unit in a castle, they also get the die from the castle. So that'd be 4 and 1 die against 3 and 3 dice. That doesn't sound good at all. So maybe just attack the protector. They only have a 1-point advantage here. Or just forget about the power star. Just move the paladin in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the knight was here. So that's blocking. The paladin can't move through the knight like that. So we have to move the knight first somewhere. I'm doing all this out of order. Apologies for that. But if we had the knight over here, he's not really doing anything. But then the paladin will pretty surely get the victory against the protector. So I think I'm okay with that. Let's do that. The knight's not going to be attacking or anything. But we'll do 5 and 2 dice against 3 and 1 die. Technically, the protector has a chance. So let's see how that goes. That's 4 for the paladin, bringing him up to 9. And she did get a 3, but that's still only 6. So she would have needed the paladin to get only a single 1 on the 2 dice. And the dice distribution is important. The average of a die roll is going to be about 1.5. Or it is 1.5 is the average. There's a 0, there's a 3, and there's 2 each of 2 and 1. So she is dead, which is unfortunate for the Guardian's plan. It's all falling apart. Humans sure did put a lot of people in range of that turtle goo, didn't they? And the humans spent all their gold, so that will go to the Guardian's turn. They're going to get 3, 4 income, which puts them at 6, which is actually the maximum you can have. So, I mean, that's how many coin components come with the game. And incidentally, it's also the maximum you can have. They're going to spend 5 of those to bring out the tree at the home base here. So this is the big boy. He's only got 3 movement, but a big 7 base attack and 3 dice. And his power is Earth Mover. He can spin the board he stands on in any way he wants. So here we go. We're spinning the board. Pick this up. Turn it. And let's just put it right down like that. How about that? So now we've got a tree, conveniently 3 movement, 1, 2, 3 away from that enemy metal castle. And yeah, he's going to attack for 7 with 3 dice against a 2 dice castle, which means it's impossible to lose. And this is destroyed. That's going to cut deep into the human's income. It also opens up a potential castle that can be built. It does take an attack action to do so, but it is available. Now, Turtle Goo is 1, 2, 3 away from the ninja, 1, 2 away from the knight, 1, 2 away from the paladin, and 1, 2, 3, 4 away from the archer. And let's just make it so that they can't move on their turn. Glue them in place. He can also attack, again, with that same little dumb thing we did before with a range of 4. The most susceptible would be the archer. So let's see how that goes. And the archer doesn't have a power star this time, so it's actually much more likely. In fact, he got 3 and she got 1. 0 plus 3 is 3 and 1 plus 1 is 2. And none of the other humans have range, so she is taken out. If they had range, they could add their base power to the defense of the archer, just like I kind of described before, but range works from range. You don't have to be adjacent if you have range. Now green's got a single coin left. All they can afford is a protector, and I don't know if they need to summon it. I think I will summon it. I'm not sure. Could have just summoned it next turn instead, but let's go ahead and do it. I'm also going to move Turtle Goo over to here with its 2 movement. We're backing up. They're stuck, but who knows? So the blue player looked like they were in a commanding position, but they just lost their metal tower. They only have a single income. Their big boys are stuck. The only unit they can afford with 1 coin is the archer. I have to put her there. Spending that, I mean, or do you save up for 2 turns and hope you get to upgrade to metal? I think they're just going to defend for now. I don't even know if that makes sense. And in fact, they are in big trouble because that's pretty much all they can do. They have to pass. And now back to the Guardians. We're earth moving again. And we're going to move this tile any way he wants. So we're going to spin it all the way around, putting the castle directly in the line of fire. He can move 1, 2, 3. And now we can have both of these ambush/siege this tower. So it's basically these 2 units adjacent to this town. This castle attacking it. It's got a unit, so the unit gets to join the fight as well. So it's 1 power and 2 dice against 7, 8, 9, 10 power and 4 dice, which means there's no way the green player can lose that. In fact, that would spend the protector's attack. You know what? Let's rewind that because I don't think he was here, right? 1, 2, 3. So yeah, I don't think they need him. I'm just going to have the protector attack alone. So it's going to be 3 and 1 die against 1 and 2 dice. There's a little close-up of this situation. He's not going to be able to join the attack from over here because he's not adjacent to what is being targeted. Oh, he does have range. He has range. So we could add his die in there. So I may as well do that. We'll make it a little bit safer. So he's got that 0 plus 1 die. So we're going to do 3 plus 2 dice against 1 plus 2 dice. So let's see what we got. Blue got a total of 4, plus 1 is 5. And green got 5 just on their dice, making it 8. So the archer and the castle are destroyed, leaving blue with no income. They don't lose until all their units are gone. And to that end, the earth mover here is going to move 1, 2 and attack against the paladin. Technically, he could lose. This is a tough unit. So it's 3 dice plus 7 on green and 5 plus 2 dice on blue. See how they do. Not looking great for blue. They only got 2 on their 2 dice, whereas green got 4. So it's 11 against 7, and the paladin is down. I forgot to grab the income for the Guardians, so they should have $4. Turtle Goo has attacked but not used his sticky power, so we can lock the knight down. Could move first. It's kind of awkward, but I don't have a good tower here. I can only summon wood units here in the middle, and she's blocking my powerful stuff space. She hasn't moved yet, but I don't know where I would want her to go. Guess I'm gonna move her 1, 2 out of her potential 3 just to get her off of there. I think I'll move Turtle Goo here so he's not in the way, but use that before he does his lockdown. So we got 1, 2, 3 away and 1, 2, 3, 4 away, locking both of them. And then I'll go ahead and spend 4 money on this unit, the Tiger Rider, just a straightforward 5 attack, 2 dice, and 5 movement, the same as the Paladin was. And that's got to go here. I think I'll have him go 1, 2, 3 and declare an attack against the Knight. So 2 for green and 1 for blue. If green gets 0, but he didn't, he got 3. So it's going to be 8 against 5. And the Knight is down. The Ninja is the last surviving fella over there. The humans get to take their turn, but they have no income, no money, and he can't move. He doesn't have range, so they pass back to the Guardians. Unfortunately, the tree is not going to be able to join the fight, but what he can do is go 1, 2, or maybe just go onto the gold mine. They get their income, so that's $4. And he's going to, now that he's on this tile, he can rotate it like this, which means she can go 1, 2, 3. This guy can go 1, 2, 3. Turtle Goo's even in range to add his die. And with 4 coins, we can summon... Oh, no, we can't summon a Spider Witch because we don't have metal grade there. So we'll bring this fairy back out for 2, and then do 1, 2, 3 movement, activating the Power Star and making a giant attack against the ninja that I don't think he can survive, because now they all get +1 base. So that's 4, 7, 13, 14, plus 5 dice. So let's just count it up and see how good this ninja is. 5, 14 plus 5 is 19, and he's got 3 dice because he absorbed 1 soul. He actually made a showing of it. Got a +7 there. So 7 and 4 is 11, but not close. The ninja's taken out. The baby dragon is returned to the board. Blue has no remaining pieces, and it turns out green's strategy did work. So I rushed level 3 because I wanted to try to do these earth mover shenanigans, start spinning tiles around and just rush in, cut off their source. Obviously, Turtle Goo is extremely powerful. I mean, it's possible I misunderstood how it's supposed to work, but again, I thought it was pretty clear. And now that the game is over, that probably brings me to my first of 3 points. I think if you read the rules, so I've printed them out. They're pretty short. If you read these rules, you'll feel like you have a good sense of how to play. I was very happy as I was reading the rules. The problem is the way the unit abilities are worded can be pretty vague. For example, Turtle Goo just says, glues the enemy unit in place for 1 turn. Well, which enemy unit? And does that mean you have to attack to use that or not? So the sorcerer class of units don't have to expend their attack, but that was something I found in the unit FAQ, not in these core rules or in the wording on that tile. And there's a ton of detail in that FAQ, so I highly recommend that if you're going to play the game, you read it first if you're like me and you want to really know how everything works. There were some very surprising additions to the rules in that FAQ. For example, the ninja is part of a group of units called the siphons who stack units underneath them. So you saw him doing that, and he gets an extra die to his attack for each one siphoned. What it doesn't say anywhere on the tile or anywhere in the rulebook, you have to find it in the FAQ, is that there's a maximum of 3 souls that he can have absorbed. So stuff like that, there's some surprises. The blue, the human's dragon, has the ability to carry units on his back. So there's a lot of questions and clarifications and what I would consider to be extra rules hidden in that FAQ. But the way the rules seem to be written, the way the game seems to be written, is that it doesn't matter. Just play, just read what it does. You and your friends can figure out what it means and just play by the intention of what's going on. And if you're that kind of player and you're okay with that kind of style of play, I think you don't even read the FAQ, just decide for yourselves. Obviously, I doubt anyone would have played Turtle Goo the way I did if you were just going on instinct. And I think you could have a very good time with these quite satisfying, well-written rules, and then your own interpretations of the abilities. And that interpretation of rules and stuff, I think appeals to a certain style of player, which brings me to my second point about the game, which is the visual design and the way they're marketing it and presenting it. And I mean, there's very opaque hints in the rules that this is a learning game and you can trick kids into learning by playing this board game with them. It's kind of appealing to a market of people who want to, or who might want to, or who could be convinced to get into board gaming with their kids, which I think is great. But if you are entrenched in hobby board games already, this game isn't presented in a way that is going to appeal to you. Even if you appreciate the art style, which I mostly do, it is a little bit leaning toward kid for me, but I tend to like bright colors and somewhat cartoony art. Again, this is slightly over the line of what I might prefer, but I do enjoy it. And I know a lot of people would look at this and think it just looks like a kid's game, but for me, I like it and I appreciate it. I wish there were more brightly colored, fun looking games out there. I don't think it needs to be marketed for kids, but I have no problem with the fact that that's what they wanted to go for. And it does teach things like probability, strategy, taking turns, spending and gaining money, counting how much you're going to have, comparing dice results, adding up 11 versus 19 at the end of that for the final battle. But so do a lot of other games that aren't necessarily marketed as kids games. It's just a matter of the fact that a lot of board games, if they're accessible to kids, they're going to teach. But this one chooses to focus and lean into that marketing toward kids, which again, totally fine with. But if you just want a game to play with kids, it doesn't have to be this one, but it could be. And then my third point that I wanted to make about the game, leaning out off the concept of just how the game is presented and how it's not necessarily marketed for the entrenched board game hobby, I have to comment on the fact that this game does not come in a box, which took me off guard initially. I showed you this undead faction board at the beginning of the game, or at the beginning of the video, but this is what you get. You get 4 of these. And in fact, here is the orc board as I got it, still in shrink wrap. So just imagine getting 4 of these in the mail with no box, and in fact, no rules either, which also really caught me off guard, which is why I had to print this out. I feel pretty strongly that games should come with rules. So I'm going to open this one right now just to give you the experience of what that would be like. So if you take off the wrap, well, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. You get what I showed you earlier, and you can pop the front off, and now you're going to have your board and all your units. But imagine if there was just a rules little pamphlet right in between this board and that board. That's what I wanted. You could keep this form factor. I do prefer a box, but these are cool. Like just having these. And imagine in like a toy store, because again, we're not doing the board game market thing. Imagine a toy store of some kind having these, which is probably why they're wrapped that way. It's probably as intended, that you maybe don't have to buy all 4. You just buy the one you want. Your friend buys a different one, and the entry level cost is a lot lower, which is also cool. So I can kind of appreciate the lack of the box for what they're seem to be going for. I cannot appreciate the lack of the rule book. Gotta put something in here. But maybe I'm just too entrenched in hobby board games to expect that, because they've got their links on the back. You can learn with the video tutorials. They got the links, they got the QR code. So a lot of TCGs don't give you the rules either. The way of the future, I suppose. So let me know what you think. I was thinking about doing a mini series. I did enjoy that game. As broken as it was kind of cool to see it play out. I kind of liked the brokenness of doing wild stuff. Or maybe it's not broken at all. Maybe the humans just needed to play better, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I kind of don't know what I'm doing. And even as I had that strategy in my head, I didn't even play around it as the humans, which might have been a subconscious bias because I liked the Guardian faction more. But also I felt like those strategies were kind of hidden. Like you really would have to know the game well to know, oh, they could bring out the tree and they could move this and that in this way or that way. I don't know. But yeah, maybe I could do a mini series, play the other 2 factions against each other. We can see how those 2 play out as well. I do like the game. I like how much little space it takes up once these are all packed up, which is another argument for not having a box. And it's cool to have this tactical skirmish game with a relatively simple rule set. Again, comments about the complexity of how some of their abilities maybe work or maybe don't work aside, the basic rule set is pretty simple and pretty satisfying. Like even things like ambushing, like combining attacks, combining defenses, there are a few little finicky rules you got to remember, but they're actually not that finicky. It's just there's just a few of them, and it makes all the positioning feel very important, which is really cool in a game like this. I love all the different terrain features, the points of power, the gold mine, and one we didn't even talk about, which is the portal. The portals are always adjacent to each other, which is cool too. I really tend to dislike it when games have a lot of spaces and nothing on the spaces, and then the units just end up moving toward each other and then just fighting, and that's it. So I like the big diversity of terrain here, and it fits in a small package. A little bit of excitement from the dice, a lot of cool abilities. So I'll stop rambling. Thanks for watching. Subscribe so we can get more subscribers, and bye.